Well, I think I'm gonna explain first. I'm not gonna eat up too much more time, but why The Sims 2 is better than The Sims 1. Well, obviously the controlling. The Sims 2 for the GameCube really just parodied the first one, and I thought that was hysterical because the first one had this story where it said, "Okay, this is you. Your life sucks. You're poor. You got to work your way from the bottom, and maybe you'll make it." But in The Sims 2, it was just like kind of laughed at that. The storyline, which is a lot harder to follow, by the way. I mean, it's a good storyline. In fact, it's probably my favorite storyline for The Sims, all the Sims games combined. Basically, you're just fulfilling your character's goal once, and other characters. Going to different locations. There's some pretty cool houses. And, after I'm done playing the storyline, I actually go to one of the houses and just free play it. Because it's not hilarious, it's fun. And I'm gonna go on that in a little bit, but, the storyline, I mean, there isn't much to follow, but the story is still amazing. And then you have free play, which is, that's actually the only flaw with The Sims 2, is you can only have 4 houses. You can have 8 families, but only 4 houses. But just because they're not living somewhere doesn't mean they can't walk around your lot. I would prefer to see a few more houses, but, I mean, it already took up 147 blocks in the memory card, and I mean, that's a lot. Anyway, yeah, The Sims 1 and The Sims Bustin' Out had the more diverse storylines, and of course The Sims 2 Castaway is all about the storyline. But The Sims 2 Pets, this is why The Sims 2 Pets wasn't as good. The Sims 2 Pets didn't have a storyline. And they didn't have story in free play, it just had free play, and that's what really ticked me off. But, it also, the motives, there was no max all motives cheat codes, the motives went down faster, it was a little bit more laggy, things, their voices got all sped up and annoying when you fast forward it. And it wasn't really that much fun to play. Castaway, it was kind of pretty much the same way, only even more annoying because of the controller. And that finally brings me on to what I want to see in The Sims 3 for the console. Hello there. I heard a couple weeks ago that The Sims 3 is being imported to the console, which is just making me hysterical. Because I generally prefer the Sims games on the console. The reason probably being is my first Sims game was The Sims 1 for the GameCube. And, it progressed to Bustin' Out, The Herbs, Sims 2, Sims 2 Pets, Sims 2 Castaway. Sims 2 was probably, well, it's not what got me into The Sims, but it's definitely what made me stick to it. It was, I actually just went back and played it today. It's incredible. The Sims 2 for the GameCube is my all-time favorite Sims game. It actually might be my favorite GameCube game of all time. And there's one specific reason for that. And it's not so much the objects, which, the objects are good, and the clothing style, how you can layer it, instead of just picking specific clothing, like The Sims 3 for the PC. What I really like about The Sims 2 for the GameCube, or the console, whatever you want to say, is the ability to control your own character. And why that means so much to me is you don't only get to create your own character this time, but you actually get to play as them. And I know you can do that in quite a few games, but you get to create their house, their environment, their life, their personality. You basically create actual people this time, and The Sims 2 for the GameCube, Sims 2 for the PC, blows it away when it comes to customization, but when it comes to gameplay, I really give it to the console version because you aren't playing God over your character. I mean, you still can play God over your character. You have the classic control where you push the Z button, and you can, may have the little green thing that says, go here, go there. You can still do that, but you can also control your character, so you don't have to play God over them. You can just play as your character. You're not their God, you are them. Actually, you're both their God and them. I mean, sometimes they won't obey you. I mean, when you tell them play guitar, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do that. But I think you play as them, and that's really their conscience talking anyway. But, yeah, that's really why The Sims 2 for the console is my all-time favorite Sims game. Now, I know that in the Castaway and Pets, you could do the same exact thing. But in Castaway and Pets, things got really messed up. I don't really know how to explain them, but they did. Alright, first off, this is probably the most important thing I want in The Sims 3, which I'm thinking they actually might do. Have a story mode and free play. I love that about any game. Having a story mode and a free play, or if you combine them, that's okay. But in The Sims, okay, I would rather have a free play than a story mode, just so you know you can play around, do whatever you want, and make more than one family. But the story mode is a big part of it. I mean, I've beaten the story mode for The Sims 2 twice or 3 times, and I still love it. So, I mean, make a story mode, storyline, and make it kind of like The Sims 2 for the GameCube. This is specifically for the GameCube this time. I played it for the PS2. PS2 version's not as good, doesn't have as many of the cheats, and the story mode part lacks. Where if first player comes in, they make their character, they're the main character. But if second player comes in, they don't just have to play as one of the other characters in the house. They get to create their own character. And the thing is, since they're one of the side characters, they don't have to do anything. They don't have to get a job. I mean, they can just do whatever they want. I mean, they can get a job, of course, but, that's... And a lot of times I would start the game with 2 players just so I could create 2 characters. And, then go start playing one player, because one player can play a second player's character when he's not playing. Now, that is my most major, want, is I want to see a story mode and a free play. The Sims 2 had both. The Sims 2 Pets only had free play, and The Sims 2 Castaway only had a story. Now, from what I've heard, the Xbox 360 version is going to focus a lot on online play, so I'm guessing it's going to be more free play, which is going to be cool. But the Wii version, I heard, has its own beach resort level or something, where it's an entire neighborhood. So, I mean, I was kind of on the edge about which version I want. I would say probably towards the 360 version, just because the Wii version could have as many features as it wants. As many new features. They could all be awesome. Everything's just cool. But that was one of the biggest flaws in The Sims 2 Castaway. The control. No, I take it back. That was the biggest flaw in The Sims 2 Castaway. The controller. The Wii controller just does not work with The Sims. And that has ruined a lot of games for the Wii. Because even Animal Crossing, it ruined Animal Crossing too. Because the creator had to be stuck-up jerk about it and say, no, there is going to be no GameCube or classic controller support. Well, fine, be like that. You just made the game suck. And I'm not saying, it's okay with it, but The Sims just doesn't work with it. So, the 360 even has a controller similar to the GameCube controller. It's easy to maneuver, and that's why I want it. And of course, the graphics would be better, but that's probably why I get the 360 version. And, anyway, moving on. By the way, I didn't mean to diss the creator of Animal Crossing. He's an awesome guy. Created a great game. Sorry about that outburst. Free play mode. More lots. Okay, I think The Sims 2 Pets had 6, and The Sims 2 had 4. Now, I would prefer to see around 8, 9, or 10. You can take up a little bit more space. My Sims took up 97 blocks. And now, and back to story mode. Make it a good story. Don't make it too hard. Don't make it too, what to say. But yeah, go back to just look at the way you made The Sims 2 for the console and base it off that. Because that was a great game. It was even raved good by critics. So, yeah. Oh, and this is the most important part of all. Keep the direct control. Let you control your own character. That's what makes the game good. And, what else do I want to say here? I guess downloadable content might be nice. But, if not, it's not a big deal. But yeah, for free play, Maybe 4 players. That would be kind of nice. But, I mean, I don't think it's going to do that. Just don't make it 1 player. Whatever you do, don't make it 1 player. Like The Sims 2 Pets or The Sims 2 Castaway, don't make it 1 player. Make a co-op storyline of at least 2 people, maybe even 3 or 4, and 2 to 4 players preferably for The Sims, you know. I know the only reason they didn't do it before is because the PS2 only had 2 controllers slots, which was a major flaw. But the Wii, the 360, and the PS3 all have 4 controllers. So, you know, that'll work. But, I mean, other than that, I'm really looking forward to the game. I'm looking forward to the DS version, too. Might cover that another time, because I'm all out of time. But thanks for watching.